If you adopt one mindset this year, make it this: build the strength to endure a hard life. Not despite hardship, but because of it. Jordan Peterson calls it carrying your load with purpose. Bruce Lee said to not pray for an easy life, but the strength to endure a hard one. That shift just changes everything. Hard times are guaranteed in your life. You will lose people you love, face financial setbacks, and be tested in ways you cannot predict. If your mindset is built on strength, you will recover faster, make better choices, and live with freedom. If it's built on victimhood, you're gonna stay stuck. So strength is the only real path forward. Now, I never grew up in comfort. I grew up in government housing. I went to schools that were terrible, the kind of schools where you were lucky just to make it without falling in trouble. College felt impossible for me, and even now, I'm very surprised I even passed. It was not talent, it was not luck, it was my pure stubbornness. It was choosing to keep pushing even when everything told me to quit. And somehow, through it all, I made it. And I look back and I really do see it as a miracle because today I wasn't just surviving. Like, I have money in the bank. I have two beautiful daughters. I have the skills that I built piece by piece. And I have connections I have worked years to earn. But here's the truth. With my background, I had every excuse to complain. I could have chosen to point the fingers at life, at the system, at my past, and I could have said that it was just unfair. And you know what? I would have not been wrong, but it would not have helped me. Not even one bit. That's the trap of victimhood. It feels good in the moment, but it just never moves you forward. Complaining never puts food on the table. It never builds confidence. It never helps you lead your family. When I stopped looking for excuses, I started seeing more opportunities. When I stopped asking why me, I started to ask, what can I do next? That really does shift everything because life will always be unfair. It will always test you. It will always throw pain your way. The only question is whether you stand up and fight or stay down and complain. My story is proof, not proof that I am some type of special person, but proof that strength is built. Proof that if you choose it, you can rise. And that choice, day after day, is what made me who I am today. So about 10 years ago, I traveled to Cambodia, and that trip really changed how I saw life forever. So in America, you might see poor people here and there, and they're usually adults asking for help. But in Cambodia, homeless people were everywhere. It was old people, it was kids, it was entire family. Everywhere I turned, poverty would just stare at me in the face. When I walked through the temples, I saw groups of poor people just waiting, hoping for food and money. Not one or two, but crowds, line of people. And it hit me really hard when I was there. Because back home, we complain about inflation, we complain about the economy, we complain that life is not fair. Yes, those are real things. But when you stand in Cambodia, you realize how just different it is. You see kids who are skinny to the bone. You see animals where you could count their rib cages. It was really shocking. It was absolutely heartbreaking, and it was really humbling as well because it reminded me just how lucky I am to be here in America. Lucky to live in a country where even when times are rough, I still had opportunities out there. Lucky that poverty here does not look like the same poverty somewhere else. Lucky that my kids have food, shelter, safety, and a future. The trip really opened my eyes just to gratitude. It made me realize that strength is not only about surviving your own struggles, but also about perspective. You have to look beyond yourself. You have to see how much worse it could be. Because when you see that, you're gonna stop complaining about the little things. You're gonna stop falling victim into this victim mentality. And you're gonna start appreciating the fight you already won. That's what Cambodia gave me. It's just a reminder that life is hard everywhere. But some people would give anything to trade places with you. And that should push you to keep going, to keep fighting, to keep building strength instead of making excuses. Victimhood is the easiest path you can take. It asks for nothing from you. It feels good in the moment. It tells you that it's not your fault that this is happening or something. And for a short time, that feels comforting. But comfort is not progress, and victimhood is a trap because the more you live in it, the weaker you're gonna become. You give up your power. You wait for someone else to fix your life. You blame the system. You blame the past. You blame your boss. You blame your parents. You blame your partner. And while you're all pointing fingers, time keeps moving. Opportunity passes. Your kids grow older. Your health starts to slip away, and nothing changes. That is the real cost of victimhood. It steals your future while you're pretending to protect your feelings. Now, contrast that with strength. Strength is harder in the short term. It demands effort. It demands discipline. It demands that you take responsibility for everything you can control, even when it is unfair, even when it hurts. But strength builds momentum. When you take responsibility, you're going to find solutions. When you keep pushing, you're going to grow your skills. When you stop waiting for help, you create your own opportunities. And that is the difference. Victimhood gives you excuses, strength gives you results. Jordan Peterson calls it carrying your load with purpose, and Bruce Lee called it training your capacity. Both men understood the same truth. Hardship is guaranteed. You cannot escape it, but you can prepare for it. You can build the muscles to endure it. And when you do, life just opens up. You're going to recover faster from life. You're going to make better decisions. You're going to feel free. This is what victimhood never gives you. Strength is not an idea. It gives you something to build every single day. And the good news is that anyone can build it. So Jordan Peterson talks about this when he says life is suffering. You can either collapse under it or carry your load with purpose. Bruce Lee said the same thing in his own way. Do not pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a hard one. That is the mindset. But the mindset only works if you act on it. Start with the responsibility. Stop waiting for someone else to solve your problems and just ask yourself, what can I do right now with what I have? That question alone will shift you from a victim to a builder. Next, train your body. Bruce Lee trained his body daily because he knew discipline in the body creates discipline in the mind. When you push through physical pain in the gym, you prepare yourself for the pain of life. Peterson reminds us that responsibility brings meaning. Taking care of your health is your first responsibility. Now train your mind. Read books that stretch you. Journal your thoughts so you can see them clearly. Meditate to stay calm when life feels chaotic. These habits are your armor for your mind. Control your environment too. Surround yourself with people who lift you up. And definitely stay away from constant complainers because mindset just spreads like fire. If you want strength, you cannot soak in weakness. Gratitude is another big weapon. Every day, write down what you are thankful for. It rewires your brain. Instead of seeing only problems, you're going to see some progress. Instead of focusing on what you lack, you're going to notice on what you already have. That perspective makes you more resilient. And finally, test yourself. So Bruce Lee believed in daily training, always pushing past limits, and Peterson believed in voluntarily facing chaos to build order. Seek out hard challenges. Take on things you can fail at. Have the tough conversations you normally avoid. Each time you do, you're going to prove to yourself that you can carry more than yesterday. And that is how strength is built. Not in one big event, but in the small choices you're going to make every single day, step by step, action by action, until one day when life hits you hard, you are still standing. And not just standing, but standing much stronger. Be careful about the people you let close to you because your environment shapes your mindset more than you realize. It is easy to get caught in this crazy echo chamber, online or in person. If you spend your time with people who see themselves as victims, you will slowly start thinking like them. If you hang out with people who complain all the time, you're going to find yourself complaining as well. If you are surrounded by people who stay stuck, you will get stuck too. That influence is real and it will hurt you. It will drag you down with them. And that is why you cannot afford to be around people who are not growth oriented, people who are negative, people who make excuses all the time, people who refuse to take responsibility for their lives. They will never push you to rise. They will only keep you down. One of the best ways to change your life is to change your environment. Now that might mean where you live. That might mean the people you spend your weekends with. It might mean the circles you follow online. It might even mean letting go of a relationship that just no longer serves you. Every connection either pulls you forward or holds you back. So choose wisely. Surround yourself with people who are winning, people who are positive, people who are optimistic about the future, people who are building something, people who are making changes in their life and taking action. Because when you're around that type of energy, you're just going to start to level up, right? That is how growth spreads. And that is how strength multiplies. Do not waste your time with victims. They will never show you how to rise, but winners will. About a month ago, I actually lost my job and the company was restructuring, so my role was cut, unfortunately. And that could have been a moment to just fall into sadness. It could have been a moment to sit back and just wallow in victimhood, but I knew that would not do me any good. So I gave myself maybe an hour or two just to breathe, calm down, to relax, to get my mind together, and then I went straight into action. I immediately updated my resume. I made sure it looked sharp, it looked professional. I did some research and I started applying for jobs that very same day. I did not wait. I did not let myself sink into depression because time wasted is opportunity lost. And within that first week, I sent out tons of applications. I researched every company I had interviews with. I spent at least an hour or two digging deep before each interview. I made sure I could speak their language and show I was prepared. I leaned into my network as well. I reached out to people I trusted and I stayed consistent. And you know what the crazy result is? Within a month, I landed a contract role. And not just any role, like this role pays more than my last job. It also had the potential to turn into a full-time job if I brought in results. That is not luck. That is action. That is effort that I put in. That is refusing to let hardship keep me down. I had 2 young kids to feed. I had bills to pay. I had responsibilities I cannot ignore. So I used what I had, my skills, my connection, my work ethic, and I got myself back on my feet. This is what strength looks like in real life. I'm not pretending things are easy, not denying that it hurts, but I'm still acting anyway, moving forward anyway, doing what has to be done. That is how you endure a hard life, and that is how you win. Yeah, life is hard. That is the truth. But hard does not mean hopeless. It means you have to be strong enough to carry it. It means you prepare for the suffering that will come. And when it does, you're gonna rise instead of collapse. My story proves it. Growing up with nothing, barely making it through school and college, facing countless setbacks like losing my job, yet here I am, standing stronger because I refuse to fall into victimhood. Your story can be the same. Not because life gets easier, but because you will get stronger. Strength is built in your choices, in the people you surround yourself with, in the actions you take when life hits. Choose strength, reject victimhood, be grateful for what you have, and keep fighting for what you want. Because freedom comes when you know you can endure anything. So if this message spoke to you, do me a favor, like the video so more people can hear it, and thank you for watching.